What's up, Browns fans? Welcome to the best show on the internet. It's X's and Joe's presented by Microsoft Surface, and there's no better time to dive into the film room than after an unbelievable snow globe-filled Browns win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. And joining me on today's program is a man who needs no introduction, but he will get one anyway. He is the Hoff, Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. Hoff, how are you?
Doing fantastic, Z. Thanks for bringing me on again. It's good to be back to talk about a fun-filled snow globe winter wonderland that we had last Thursday night against the hated Pittsburgh Steelers.
I was talking to your buddy, your left guard, who used to line up next to you at the beginning of his career, Joel Bitonio, and he said that's probably one of the more memorable Browns victories he's been a part of because it was Thursday night, because of the snow, because it was the Steelers. All of it, as you were kicked up on your couch surrounded by fine urns from the Ming Dynasty. What did you think watching that one? Was that did it feel a little more special than just a regular win, knowing full well that, our record at this point is not what we expected, but there felt like there's a little specialness in the air.
Yeah, there was some special sauce in that game, and whenever people ask me about my favorite Browns memory, I always say the Snow Bowl game in 2007. We beat the Buffalo Bills in a similar weather type game, and I think for NFL players, you only get maybe one or two shots of these type of atmospheres, these type of games where the snow is pouring down and you're under the lights of national television. You're the only game in town. And I think it's those type of games that you just really remember many, many decades after your career is gone because they're so few and far between and they're so special. And of course, when you get a win in the manner that we did against the Steelers on Thursday, it remains even more burned into your memory forever.
All right, let's dive into the film room. Really have three big plays from the Browns win, and it's going to start with one. The snow is falling. It's fourth down. At this point in the game, the Browns had not converted a third down, but were 3 of 3 on fourth down. Could they make it 4 of 4? And here's the thing. Prior to this play, perfect play call by Ken Dorsey. David Njoku wide open in the end zone, and he just drops it. And so now it's fourth down. You feel like you got to score here. And here is what happens as we watch this one unfold here from the all-22 angle. And what I'm going to do right now is just circle this man, T.J. Watt, a former Defensive Player of the Year, because according to Wyatt Teller, he's trying to get into the club, and he doesn't have an invite. He doesn't have a ticket, and Wyatt's going to have to be a bouncer here and throw him out of the club. So keep your eyes on T.J. Watt and then Wyatt Teller right here because he's going to send T.J. Watt somewhere over here by this Mr. Referee.
Yeah, great job. Obviously, you're going to have to block T.J. Watt on all of these big down and distances, third downs, fourth downs in the fourth quarter. If you want to have a chance to win the game, Jack Conklin knew that and handled him all night.
Wyatt, as you see, he gives one hand right here on the defensive tackle, and then he's like, you know what? Ethan's got this. His eyes are already on T.J. Watt. He's saying, I want to get me a piece of T.J. Watt. As a tackle, you maybe expect a little help if TJ throws a spin move to the inside, right? Not if he's just trying to rush around the edge and then all of a sudden you see a blur. Kablowie!
He threw him like 4 feet in the air. It was like taking the garbage can on trash day after it's been emptied and just tossing it back into your garage. So cool to see that. And this is one of the things that is the game within the game, right? Ken Dorsey knows, all right, we got TJ Watt out there. We're going to send our running back in motion across the football, right? So he's going to start to the right. He's going to go in motion all the way across the field. When you're in the red zone, you want to get these man zone looks so you understand where are my quick answers. If a lot of times a zone coverage, then the quarterback knows, hey, I'm going to go left. If it's man coverage, I'm going to start to the right. And so that's why you send a guy in motion. But when you do that, you expose your tackle because now you don't have any chip help. You don't have any double team help from the outside. But that's why you're going to send the slide from the inside of that offensive line, your center and your guard. And Wyatt knows all he's got to do is post his left hand, give Ethan Pozick just enough time to secure that nose guard. And then he can come over and now they can double team TJ Watt. And when you got Wyatt Teller coming over there on a double team, you know you're going to be in good shape as an offensive tackle because that man likes tossing people to the sideline. And what a great job here by Jameis. He understands, hey, it's man coverage, like we just talked about. Running back goes in motion, the linebackers pass it off, but then they run out of the box knowing, hey, they got to cover that running back into the flat. Jameis realizes that. He understands he doesn't have that quick throw to the running back in the flat. everybody's in coverage. And a lot of times they tell these quarterbacks, hey, if you're going to get man coverage and a lot of these double teams like you're seeing in the second level, what you got to do is buy a little time, and then nobody's covering the quarterback. They've got safeties with eyes on the quarterback that are in zone coverage, but the best opportunity for us to get a touchdown in this situation a lot of times is that quarterback scramble, because he only needs a few yards and a lot of toughness and the grit that Jameis shows on this play to be able to go up and over a defender and spin his weight in the end zone. He was not going to be denied. It was such a beautiful effort by Jameis Winston. He knew he had to get in the end zone. It was do or die, and he said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to eat these W's.
And eat them he did. Just real quick on the coverage from this angle so you can see it. So you do have some man, but you've got zone. So you've got man, 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 and then you have three guys in the middle. 1, 2, 3 playing zone, and they're reading David Njoku. So they're seeing Chief come across on this crossing route, and he comes down to meet it right here. And so what you end up with is really nowhere for the ball to go from Jameis Winston, and that's why, as you see, Chiefs wisely clears out, draws the defender, Minkah Fitzpatrick, away. That's a big part of this play right now. If Chief just stays on the end line, it's not a touchdown, but he wisely takes him out. Minkah has to go with him, and he gets in the end zone. I want to give just one last look from here. How would you describe, Hop, TJ Watt's body language when he gets up here? It looks to me like he's a man, kabam! A man in a little bit of pain right here. That is a very ginger move and just a,
Well, you ever gone outside, Z, in the snow? I know you grew up on the West Coast, but you've been in Ohio a long time. And when it's really cold,
longer than anywhere else,
flicking your ear, how much pain that is when your ears are cold.
Yeah.
Now imagine getting hit by a 330-pound guard named Wyatt Teller in this type of cold and snow. I mean, when the other team scores a touchdown, that's hurting 3 or 4 times as much as it would normally if you were able to get the stop in that situation. But the pain, it all comes to the surface when you get scored on and you're getting waylaid the way Wyatt Teller does to TJ Watt.
The best part about this, too, is then look who's the first person there. Wyatt somehow the first person there picking him up. It's a touchdown. It's a celebration, baby.
I love it. You know, he's going there because he knows he's going to have his quarterback get in the end zone. He wants to be there to celebrate with him. But the other thing is, this is a savvy play by Wyatt, and it's something that you don't notice because Jameis is able to get in, but he's trying to follow the ball carrier in case Jameis gets hung up. How many times have we seen that ball carrier? You get stood up on the goal line, and then the defensive players are jumping in to try to push him and keep him out. And how many offensive players are going to have the savviness to be able to get down there and turn into a bulldozer, get behind Jameis Winston and push him across that goal line? Didn't need it in this situation, but a great heads-up play, and that's what makes Wyatt Teller one of the better guards in football.
Now we go to Myles Garrett. And Hoff, you said after this game, if there one rep I had to go against anybody, I would not want it to be Myles Garrett. And right here, we're going to see, I'm going to give you kind of the better angle here. You're going to see Myles Garrett, and of course, always gets the attention, right? 2 tight ends start over there, 1 comes in motion. Now what you're going to get is a little chip here so that Dan Moore has time to get back into set, and Myles is still going to turn that corner and use his left hand to get the ball out here from Russell Wilson. Break this one down for us.
Yeah, so I tweeted in the first half of this game, Myles Garrett is the best pass rusher in NFL history when he's at his best, and he was at his best in this game because the Pittsburgh Steelers tried every single possible way you could to get double teams and help with this man, and he still had 3 sacks and a forced fumble in the first half. Here, like you mentioned, the tight end's trying to take an edge off, and all he's trying to do is give the tackle time to get back in his set because Myles is so quick off the ball and he takes up so much ground with his steps that he's going to gain a lot of ground towards that quarterback. So you need these offensive tackles to give a little bit of time so that they can get depth to be able to push their man past the quarterback. But even with that chip, what you're thinking is, I'm a tackle. My quarterback's back foot is probably going to be about 9 yards if he's deep. And I need to be able to push my man 10 yards past the quarterback. And so after 2 kicks, you should have your back foot at about 5 yards. You can see that the left tackle for the Steelers right now, his foot starts on the 35-ish or whatever that line is right there. And after 2 kicks, he's only really gained like 1.5 yards of space. So he's not got enough depth. He is not gaining enough speed and depth to be able to get back there. And Myles says, okay, thank you. I'm just going to dip my shoulder and run right around you. And actually, it's interesting. The inside move here, Shelby Harris wins very quickly to the inside against the Steelers left guard, but it actually hurts Myles a little bit because it forces Russell Wilson out of the pocket off of the spot that he's dropping to. And had that not happened, Myles is going to smoke him right in his back there, right at about 8 yards deep from where the ball was snapped. But because Shelby Harris forces Russell up out of the B gap, Myles is able to still turn that corner because he's beaten this tackle so bad, and he's savvy and he wisely is able to stick his hand out and punch the football out before Russell Wilson's able to get two hands on that ball, making one of the game-changing turnovers early in this game against the Steelers.
Yeah, watching this half, it really feels like Dan Moore kind of, with that chip, he's forcing him. If you watch the way that Darnell Washington, the big tight end, chips him, he's pushing him outside. So it almost is like Dan Moore's worried about an inside move there and doesn't get off the line quickly enough. To your point, Shelby Harris knocks the guard, Isaac Simaloa, off balance here and is able to kind of swim move over the top, boom, right inside, and gets kind of a natural pick from Najee Harris there, forces up, and then look at this. Myles, this looks like a hold to me, by the way, as I freeze frame it right there. that is a textbook hold right there.
That's old.
And then Myles still the savvy with his left hand right here to punch that ball right there, gets it out, knows it's out, gets on it, pops it again, and then Winston Reed comes in and cleans it up, and Myles is off to the sidelines, and he is celebrating. 3 sacks in the first half off. Incredible. Second time this year he's done that.
It's amazing. The hat trick in the first half. He was a man that was on a mission in this game. He said it after. He wants to make sure that everybody in this league respects him and knows who's the better pass rusher, who's the better defensive end between him and TJ Watt. And I don't think he left any doubt at the end of this game.
Now we go to the game winner here. Second down, the Browns in the shotgun, Nick Chubb on the left hip of Jameis Winston. And when we look at it from behind, you've got 1 tight end, 2 tight ends, and then your 5 linemen. So strong to the left, and typically with a shotgun like this, the typical runs, right, are either inside zone straight across, you can run a power straight across, or you can kind of toss it out this way or run a counter. But what the Browns do is that inside zone, and they let kind of Nick Chubb read it, and this play works, and this was an unlikely hero. Blake Whiteheart just called up, made the great catch in the game, Hoff, and he is one-on-one with Cam Hayward. And watch the block that he puts on Cam Hayward that makes this play work, because Nick Chubb runs right off of 86's back here.
I played against Cam Hayward a lot, and he is one of the best of all time at cutting off this backside gap from a head-up technique. That's what the Steelers always made their money on when they were playing just the traditional 3-4, and they play a lot of those same techniques, even though the defense is a little bit different than when I was playing against them when Dick LeBeau was their defensive coordinator. But watch the cutoff. What you have to do is you got to get your head to the inside. You got to stay square. You got to run your feet as fast as you can. And then you got to get your backside hand inside and underneath the defensive end, Cam Hayward, in this situation. It is a hard block. This is what Cam's been doing, making Pro Bowls for decades. And to be able to beat him at his own game in this situation, continue driving your feet, knocking him back, giving Nick Chubb the ability to make 2 or 3 jump cuts and to get in the end zone, it's truly remarkable. And actually, when you see this play from the start, Nick Chubb goes right to the jump cut to his left, to the defense's right, because he's thinking, hey, Cam Hayward's going to beat my tight end to this gap, so I'm going to have to cut this back right away. And as soon as he does that, he quickly realizes, holy cow, my tight end's now cut off one of the best defensive ends in the game, and he's got a great angle to be able to block him into the end zone. Well, I'm just going to jump cut and try to take that gap. And as soon as he sees that open gap, that triggers the Steelers safety, Minkah Fitzpatrick, who's going to try to come up there and make a play. Nick Chubb could either run him over, which I believe in Nick Chubb, but he also makes the wise decision, hey, I'm just going to jump cut one more time, whoop, right there, and I'm going to run right behind my big tight end who's doing a great job so we can give him love on X's and Joe's. I know that's what he was thinking. He runs right behind our tight end, Blake Whiteheart, right through Cam Hayward in the most improbable manner, and such a way to be able to give redemption to Nick Chubb, who plays the Steelers for the very first time since he was injured against them last season. He gets the game-winning touchdown behind our most unlikely of hero here, Blake Whiteheart. Fantastic job by everybody, including the call from Ken Dorsey, getting into the end zone, winning this one at home, and making it one of the most memorable games that we can have in recent memory for the Cleveland Browns in this snow globe Christmas-filled Thursday night adventure.
It was pure joy. You saw Jameis Winston with the celebration, the big fist pump there, and the Browns get in. And I got to tell you, that's one of those for a Blake Whiteheart. That earns you a lot of points with the coaches. That earns you more opportunities when you make a play like that. And as a young tight end in a room that really doesn't have any young tight ends, perhaps Blake Whiteheart cementing a future for himself here with the Cleveland Browns. All right, Hoff, you get the Thursday, you get kind of that long bye, and then it's even longer because you're going to Monday Night Football in Denver. How do you kind of keep yourself locked in? And then this is going to be a tough game against what has become a very good Denver Broncos team.
Yeah, Denver Broncos are playing great football. Bo Nix is playing extremely well for a rookie, and really for any quarterback. And I think early on we were saying Jaden Daniels was the guy as the rookie quarterback, really sort of separating himself from the rest of the rookie class. But he's hit a little bit of a skid, and Bo Nix just continues to ascend in the right direction with the rest of this Broncos team. So it's going to be a battle for the Cleveland Browns, and especially after having that long layoff, they're going to make sure that they get a lot of good work and a lot of great focus this week in practice and continue the motivation and the momentum that they built with this huge win from the Steelers, realizing how good they can be, because they need to bring that all the way through their preparation through Thanksgiving week and be ready to roll when they go out to Denver on Monday night.
All right, Hoff, is that a little turkey tail over your right shoulder there?
You got that. Absolutely.
All right, well, Thanksgiving's coming up, so we'd be remiss on the Thanksgiving edition of X's and Joe's if I didn't ask you your favorite thing on the Thanksgiving spread.
Ooh. Boy, lots of good stuff, but I love as an appetizer the buffalo chicken dip. That's one of my all-time favorites. It seems like Annie only brings it out during the week of Thanksgiving, but I always appreciate that. And then I think when you sit down to the dinner table, a crescent roll with some cold butter on a hot crescent roll is just something that is so simple, yet so delectable. And I think that is just like the perfect thing to mop up all the turkey juice and all the gravy and all the delicious fat that just oozes off of my plate from all the other delightful things that are on my Thanksgiving table during our Thanksgiving feast. And it's kind of like the final bite that you have, because I don't even need dessert after I mop up my plate. And then the great news is the people that are doing the dishes, a lot of times it's me. You don't even have to do my dishes, because that thing is as sparkly clean after I've eaten my Thanksgiving meal as it was before we sat down and said grace.
Well, that'll be the final bite on this edition of X's and Joe's. For the Hoff, Joe Thomas, I'm Nathan Zegura, thanking you once again for watching X's and Joe's presented by Microsoft Surface. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.